Hello there, welcome to Blitz Transmissions. I'm Tommy. Recently, we had an announcement that there's going to be another Star Wars Hasbro fan stream this week. As of the release of this video, this fan stream will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So you better believe I'll be live streaming my reactions, doing some discussion about what gets revealed. But one of the fun things about these fan streams is doing predictions. A couple disclaimers before we get into the predictions here. In no way am I trying to say that anything or everything or even one thing on this list is going to be actually revealed at the stream. Definitely limit your expectations for these Hasbro streams. I think I very frequently see every time a fan stream gets announced, people get really excited, they get their expectations built up, and then sometimes only a few figures get revealed for each line, and it leaves collectors a little bit let down. So let's temper our expectations here before we even get into the stream. Another thing I really want to drive home with this list is that this fan stream comes just a month after the previous fan stream. That's pretty atypical for Hasbro. Usually they space them out, especially for Star Wars. They only do like 3 or 4 a year as far as like just Hasbro Pulse fan streams go. So let's again limit the expectations. Probably only going to get like 3 or 4 figures revealed here for the Black Series, and I'm only going to be doing Black Series predictions here because Black Series is my bread and butter. Look behind me. I'm a huge collector of the line. I love the line, so I'm much more of a casual collector when it comes to the vintage collection, so these predictions are all going to be Black Series. So I have my predictions broken up into categories here. They're going to start with the most educated guesses, and then we're going to kind of go into more and more obscurity, and I guess less and less likelihood that these predictions would come true at tomorrow's stream. So the first category here are the Black Series figures that have been officially pipelined by Hasbro through official postings. As of recent months, they've kind of done away almost completely with the pipeline, and it's become very few and far between. So currently, there are only 3 figures on the current pipeline. The first of those is Moff Gideon in his Dark Trooper armor from The Mandalorian Season 3. This is a figure I'm really excited to get. I do collect The Mandalorian Season 3 figures. You can actually see them on this shelf right here. This is a character that I'm really excited to get, and I'm really excited to see how he turns out because I thought that costume was awesome. He had some awesome fight scenes. He was kicking ass in that suit, so I'm excited to get him in the line. And to pair with Moff Gideon, the next Black Series pipeline figure is the Imperial Praetorian Guard from The Mandalorian Season 3 as well. So this guy is a companion piece, I feel like, to the Moff Gideon figure, making me kind of think that these will both get revealed together, kind of how they did the recent Anakin and Captain Rex figures. Those are both from the same scenes, same flashback, so with these being from the same scenes, I feel like it makes the most sense to reveal them together. This is another character that would be a definite pickup for me, and if I got them both to pre-order at the same time, I'd be a very happy camper. And the third and final official pipeline figure from Hasbro is SM-33 from Skeleton Crew. SM-33 is one of my favorite characters from Skeleton Crew. I have all of the current Black Series figures from that show. I think that show's absolutely phenomenal, so I would definitely be in on an SM-33. I'd be interested and a little bit cautious to see how they handle his peg leg though, because I feel like that isn't very toyetic and it might lend to some difficulty in designing the figure, but only time will tell. Hasbro's been really knocking it out of the park with most of their figures lately, so I'm excited to see how this one will turn out. Moving on to the next category here, these are all figures that pieces of which have been factory leaked. So either rejects or test shots, parts of those get sold and distributed on Chinese auction sites over where the factories are for Hasbro, where these figures get made, and a lot of these bleed over onto the internet, and we get to speculate on a lot of these. With all of these images, I'm giving credit to 5017 Set on X. Make sure to go check out his page. He is constantly posting new factory leaked Star Wars figure parts, specifically for the Black Series. So if that's your cup of tea, you want to get spoiled with things like that, definitely go check out his page. He is a really great resource and member of the community. There's also going to be some of these on this list that are speculative. You know, you see a part. It's very obscure and, you know, not a very noticeable part of a character. So a lot of it, you know, we kind of come to conclusions based on the color of the sculpt, the way the details on the sculpt are shaped, things of that nature. So definitely take a lot of these with much more of a grain of salt than the official Hasbro pipeline figures. Out of all of these that I'm about to go through, I'm going to cover some of the ones that are speculated to be from Andor Season 2. With Star Wars just dropping a big trailer for Andor Season 2, I think it would make a lot of sense for Hasbro to very fittingly reveal some figures from Andor Season 2 to kind of ride the coattails of the hype for the new trailer. The first one here, and we've seen several images of this over the past few months, is the TIE Avenger pilot. There's speculation that this will be a Cassian Andor in disguise figure, but this is one of those you probably just slap the helmet on and just make it a new trooper for your collection. Another one from Andor, and we actually saw images of this, I want to say back in December, of official packaging with this figure, is a range trooper. He comes with a rocket launcher, and there's another third one, which is a new Dedra Meero figure. She is very briefly seen in a teaser trailer for Andor Season 2 wearing some Imperial armor, very similar to what Grand Admiral Thrawn wore on the attack on Atollon in Star Wars Rebels. So this is another figure that's speculated to be coming out. And finally for Andor, there is a Director Krennic cape that has been factory leaked. This cape is pretty identical to what Krennic wears in Rogue One, so I think it's fair to say, since we know that he is going to be in Andor Season 2, that they're going to do a figure of him, and it would make sense to reveal all 4 of these figures on Wednesday's stream, or even just a couple of them, you know, just to kind of ride the coattails of that hype. So out of this whole category, I think these are the most likely. Now with the rest of these here, I'm going to be jumping all over the place, all different media. None of these are going to be grouped up in any sort of way. These are going to be from the oldest factory leaked figures up to the newest factory leaked figures. So the first one here is a 501st Legion clone trooper. We're speculating this to be from Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, and that's just because this year is the 20th anniversary of the movie. If they're doing another 501st trooper, it makes the most sense to most of us for that figure to be marketed as a Revenge of the Sith release. The next one here, another one from Episode 3. We've seen the head tentacles for Kit Fisto. At this point in the game, it's speculation that Kit Fisto will be a release for Revenge of the Sith as well. Speculation that he'll be on a retro card from Revenge of the Sith like they had back in 2005. So we'll see what happens with this one. I think this one's going to be mostly reuse. And another one, after I just got done saying I'm not going to have these grouped up, from Episode 3 is in Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've seen parts of his lower tunic and belt have been factory leaked. A lot of people have matched up a lot of the pouches on the belt to be Obi-Wan's look from Revenge of the Sith. We are way overdue for a new Obi-Wan Kenobi from that movie, and this would be the perfect year to release that. Next up is Ezra Bridger, as a lot of people call him Moses Ezra Bridger from Ahsoka. This is a figure that I definitely would add to my Ahsoka display. I would really like this costume, as it's really what we see him most heavily in the show, so I'd be all over this one. Next one here is going to be a new Chewbacca from Episode 4 A New Hope. With the recent releases of Jedi Master Cal Naka and Black Chrysanthemum, we've been getting a lot of retooled and new Wookiee parts, and a lot of that can be translated over to a new Chewbacca figure. We've also seen his bandolier and his bowcaster leaked previously. Another figure from the Ahsoka series, one I'm super excited for, is the Death Trooper, specifically the reanimated zombie Death Trooper. I think that one would be super cool, and that would be an immediate pre-order for me. Jumping back to A New Hope, we have leaks for a Han Solo figure. We've seen his gun belt that he wears in that movie, so very iconic, very identifiable as Han Solo, and it would make sense to pair him with a new Chewbacca from the same movie. The next one, and I know this one is a huge want for a lot of people right now, including myself, it is the Stranger from the Acolyte, Chimere. I know this is like a top 10 want for most collectors because that character was just so badass from beginning to end in that whole show, and I would be all over this one for sure. Jumping back to the prequel trilogy, we have a couple more figures, the first one being Clone Commander Bly. There's speculation that this will just be a repack of the Clone Commander Bly that came out, I want to say in 2019. It's not an awful figure by any means, it's just not up to par with the current articulation scheme of what clone troopers look like here in 2025, so it might look a bit dated and a bit jarring when it releases, but I think it might still be a pickup for me. And next up, so these two are speculation based on new expressive head sculpts, one being for Darth Sidious and the other being for Mace Windu. These are speculated to be some kind of 2-pack or larger multi-pack from the arrest scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Palpatine cuts down 3 Jedi Masters and gets bested by Mace Windu. Next up here, I know a lot of my OT heads are very excited about this, and as someone with a large Imperial collection, I'm excited as well. It is a Sand Trooper from Episode 4 New Hope. Obviously, I'm very excited for this one. Excited to see what version of the Sand Trooper they choose to do. Will they just go with the classic move-along Sand Trooper with the orange pauldron, or pick a more obscure one? Now, this next one is really exciting to me because I have always been a fan of especially the first season of Star Wars Visions, and I've been wanting figures from Hasbro from that series. There are speculation, there are some factory leaks for the Ronin and his astromech droid B556 from that very first episode of Star Wars Visions. Absolutely amazing, absolute cinema, that whole episode, so I'd be so down to get both of these characters in the Black Series. And next up, we have, from something that I have some recency bias for, we have Merrin from Jedi Survivor. I just got done playing Jedi Survivor, so I'd be really excited to see a brand new Merrin figure, a character that's never been made in the Black Series yet. We've seen several different pieces made and factory leaked for her character, and I would love to see it in the Black Series. And jumping to Revenge of the Sith one final time on this list, there are some leaked parts for what people are speculating to be a new Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. This would make a lot of sense if the leaks for the Obi-Wan Kenobi are true. Again, another great pair of characters. And speaking of pairs, to go with Merrin, our final one for the 5017 set factory leak grouping of predictions, we have the Cal Kestis with the handlebar mustache from Jedi Survivor. This one is going to be speculated to be in his scoundrel costume. If you pre-ordered a deluxe version of the game, you got a Han Solo-esque outfit and a Luke Skywalker-esque outfit from the Yavin ceremony. So this would be really cool to get this Cal Kestis in tandem with this new Merrin figure. Alright, so now we've gone over the factory leaks. Now we go through our next grouping of characters. All of these are going to be coming from the Yakface.com Black Series Master List. If you want to check out Yakface.com, Yakface is arguably one of the most important people in this community right now, as far as like secret intel and intercepted transmissions go. He is a huge resource for this community, and honestly, hats off to Yakface for all the hard work that he does to give us really exciting news, leaks, and rumors. Some of the characters on Yakface's master list show up with the factory leaked figures that we saw before, so I'm not going to mention those ones, but I am going to mention some of the ones that have been shown on Yakface's list that I have not mentioned previously in this video. First one being a Barrisophie from Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. This one makes a lot of sense to me, especially with Luminara Unduli, her Jedi Master, being on pre-order right now. I think that this figure would be a really exciting addition to that lineup. Another one here, we have the 327th Star Corps Clone Trooper from Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. This one also makes a lot of sense. If the factory leak is true about a new Commander Bly coming to the line, it would make sense to flesh out his clone unit for the first time in the entirety of the Black Series. Another one here we have, and this one I didn't include on the 5017 set list because it could just be, the old Count Dooku that's been factory leaked. However, Yakface has on his list that a Count Dooku figure in Revenge of the Sith retro packaging will be coming out, and I'm very excited for that. Count Dooku is a fantastic figure. Any chance we can get to put him back out in the line is a great win for people who don't already have that figure. Keeping with the theme of the 2005 retro packed figures, we have another one here. They're going to do an R2-D2 in that retro pack, allegedly. I'm excited to see what that one looks like. The new R2-D2 is a fantastic figure as well, just like the Count Dooku. This would be a great repack. You could put in some nostalgia packaging. I would eat that up. Yakface does also clarify that the aforementioned Kit Fisto and 501st Legion Clone Trooper will be showing up in those retro packs as well. Yakface also has a Boba Fett on here. Now, this could be a couple different Boba Fetts. It could be a Daimyo Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. I know a lot of us have been really wanting that figure for a long time in the Black Series, or it could be a Boba Fett from The Empire Strikes Back, literally just taking that awesome deluxe Return of the Jedi Boba Fett we got a few years ago and just repainting it, slapping it in some new packaging. I'd be all over either of those options. Another version of Ezra Bridger from Ahsoka, in addition to his Moses look, is his Night Trooper disguise look. This is another one that I think just makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint. It's a cool character. You get a different version of the Night Trooper than we already have in the line, and it's just an easy opportunity for reuse generous on the company's part. And the last named character on Yakface's list that hasn't already been mentioned is a blind Kanan Jarrus, his look from seasons 3 and 4 of Star Wars Rebels. This is another one of those that's like insanely sought after by people in the community here, and I think it definitely makes a lot of sense to just have this one out in the line. Give a chance to redo Kanan, please. I really hope they don't use that old Kanan body and just retool it a little bit. I really hope this is a head-to-toe new figure, because Kanan is one of those that's pretty dated now and could definitely use a touch-up. And before I forget about this one, there is a Dash Rendar that Yakface leaked. This one is kind of leaked by Hasbro themselves, as on the back of the packaging for the Prince Shizor figure, which is currently on pre-order and officially revealed. They talk about Luke, Leia, and a Dash Rendar. So I think that, you know, naming all those characters, it just makes a lot of sense to put Dash Rendar out into the line. And as for the Yakface rumor list, there are also 2 unnamed Ahsoka series characters. I have no idea what those could be. If I were to say ones that I would want the most from that show, I think I would probably choose the Great Mothers. Honestly, I want all 3 of them, but if I were to get just one of them, I would be happy with that. And then as far as a second one, maybe a Carson Teva. I think it's well overdue that we get a Carson Teva in the line. There is an unnamed Star Wars Rebels character on this list as well. If I were to pick one for myself, I would say that the one I want most, and I think a lot of other people do too, would be Agent Kallus from his appearance in the beginning seasons of Rebels. That's a figure that I feel like he's a pretty important villain and character to the show from beginning to end, and I feel like the Rebels shelf, if you have a Rebels display for this line, looks a little empty without him. And finally, there is an unnamed The Clone Wars character. Now this one, you guys know me, you know I love The Clone Wars. There are plenty of options that I could go with on this one for what I would like to see. 2 of them, however, are on my wild card picks, which are the final segment of the video, so I won't use those twice in the video. However, if I were to pick a couple here, I would say I know a lot of people have been wanting a Quinlan Vos in the line. I know I've heard whisperings of a Jedi Temple Guard possibly coming in the Black Series as well, and that could totally be marketed as a Clone Wars figure. Any named clone trooper, give me a blue one, give me a yellow one, give me a purple one, I'll take any of them. And there are just plenty of awesome side characters. A tactical droid, I think that'd be cool. Let's keep up with that kind of separatist hype we've been getting with the different droid types. I'd be down for a tactical droid. So many options for the Clone Wars, but ultimately I'm buying whatever they put out from that show. And as I just mentioned, this last one here, this is going to be my 3 wild card picks for this live stream here. The wild card picks are things that I don't think have any real chance or probability of getting put out. It's really just my top 3 most wanted Black Series figures right now. At number 3, I'm going to give it to Mother Talzin, a Clone Wars character I would love to see in this line. I think Hasbro would knock it out of the park. They always do a good job with the aliens and the unique sculpting of her robes that kind of float and levitate. I really like that design choice on Star Wars part, and I think that Hasbro would knock this figure out of the park. Number 2, we gotta go with a big fig here. It's Pong Krell, one of the most notorious characters in the show. You gotta love to hate him. He's an anti-cloner at heart, so obviously I remember as a kid just thinking he was so cool, and I always wished that we got an action figure of him at all. I know there's a minifigure of him for Lego Star Wars, but aside from that, I would just love to see Pong Krell in the Black Series. I think they would kill it. And finally, it's my number 1 of all time. We need a Dirge in the Black Series. We need a Dirge in the Black Series. It's my number 1 pick of all time out of any Star Wars media, books, video games, shows, movies, you name it. I want Dirge. Give me him with his jetpack. Give me him with his swoop bike. Give me his Dark Horse Comics look. Anything, any way you can give me Dirge in the Black Series, and just load him up with as much as possible. I'm buying him regardless, but load him up with as much as possible. So now we've kind of covered, you know, all of the bases here. We covered what's been officially pipelined, we've covered what's been factory leaked, we've covered Yakface's intercepted transmissions, and we've also covered my wildcard picks. So what do I think will actually get revealed at this stream tomorrow? Well, I think if I were to be honest with myself and do what I told you guys to do and temper my own expectations, I think we'll see maybe 2 to 5 Black Series reveals tomorrow. I think we're going to see maybe all 4 of, if not just a couple of, the Andor figures that I talked about in this video. I think we're going to for sure see Dedra, Krennic, Cassian, and the last one, the Range Trooper. I think those are pretty definite for this stream. I also think that they might put out that Moff Gideon and that Imperial Praetorian Guard. Those have been on the pipeline for quite some time now, and I know that they're trying to kind of clean out the pipeline, and they covered 2 of them last month, and I think this would be a good way to cover 2 more that would go together as a pair. And you never know, Hasbro just might throw us a curveball and throw us something different, something cool, something fresh, and let's hope they do just that. I think they're honestly going to save a lot of the Revenge of the Sith stuff for Star Wars Celebration in San Diego Comic-Con, as the 20th anniversary of that movie is a huge part of this year for Star Wars, so I think it would make a lot of sense for them to save a lot of that for Star Wars Celebration specifically. But you never know. Let me know what your predictions are for this stream in the comments down below. Let me know if you thought my predictions were absolutely stupid, and if you have some better character choices for your predictions, be sure to say them down in the comments below. I'd love to talk back and forth with you guys in the comments. And as always, guys, if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you are an ARC Trooper in my Patreon, you would have seen this video early. If you'd like access to early content, monthly giveaways, and more awesome benefits, make sure to check out that link in the description below, and as well as joining my channel membership, Rancor Battalion. If you like to see my product reviews, see what I'm reviewing next early, vote on what I'm going to review next, check out the Rancor Battalion channel membership. And I also have links for my Discord and all my social media down in the description below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you for the next one. I'll catch you for the live stream when I do my live reactions for these reveals. And may the Force be with you.
Breaking off all units. Fire at will. 1-2, pick a target. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. I'm hit. Where's the reinforcement?